What's up, y'all? It's LakerFan here. As talks about how today's video, one of these 5 jump shots will fix your shooting guaranteed in NBA 2K23. Now, as a lot of you guys know, if you follow my channel, I don't shoot the ball super often, but when I do, I am diligently looking into the jump shot statistics as well as feedback from anybody that I play the game with, which I think I play with a lot of really good shooters at all different heights of the game, between 6'1" guards to 6'9" wings, bigs like Tonic as well. And again, I'm looking at this stuff extremely intensely when it comes to judging the grades of these jump shots, and albeit what is most important on these is obviously speed and height. Now, for those of you interested in timing, impact, or defensive immunity, we do still have a couple different options showcasing that as well that are extremely in those aspects. But also listed in this video, I want to talk about one thing that people really kind of make the big mistake when it comes to their jump shots. Now, as you can see, I have the LaMelo Ball base with Saddiq Bey uppers. Saddiq Bey is the absolute gem in this video. This is the fastest upper release in the entire game, and by far, in combination of that, gives really good release height as well. And while you may believe that defensive immunity actually matters the most for negating contest, release height is extremely important when it comes to that, because it's going to make it obviously harder for people to get the contest on you, even if they are extremely close to you. Now let's talk about the mistake that people maybe make when it comes to building their jump shots. People see that A+ speed and they think, oh, that's all I need. That's capped out. There's nothing more that it goes to. That is not the case. As you can see, if you go all the way down on the speed with this jump shot, yeah, Saddiq Bey is pushing your speed through unreal amounts of speed. As you can see, it's still an A+ even at the minimum speed. That's insane, paired with the LaMelo Ball base as well. LaMelo is extremely fast. It's one of the 5 bases we're talking about in today's video. But really quickly, before we carry on, I want to talk about how this is the mistake some people make. They see that the LaMelo Ball base equaling an A+ speed, and they think it's not even worth to test any other bases after that, because they see A+ and it's perfectly fine from that point. But when you go to page 10 and look at this Tobias Harris right here, it's also A+. Now, here's the difference. So let's just use this as an example. The DeAndre Bembry upper release right here is going to knock your speed down to C+, obviously at this Tobias Harris release, right? And it's at the maximum speed. Now, if you compare to the LaMelo Ball base, as you can see, it's going to go from C+ speed to C-, albeit when I had the Saddiq Bey upper purely on this, and we'll go ahead and just showcase this once again by just changing the animation blending. When I put the animation blending on this, it shows an A+ all the way through on the Melo, yet if I go to Tobias Harris for the base as well, it still shows A+. Albeit Tobias Harris is actually about half a letter grade to half of a letter grades, if you will, aka from an A- to an A+ difference. And then even if you take that speed down all the way, you are still gaining speed for every tick up that you get, even though it shows an A+. So think of it as pretty much an A+++, essentially. And Tobias Harris with Saddiq Bey upper is the fastest jump shot you can possibly get in the game for the wings. And this is what I plan to use on my build. I'm running 100% Saddiq Bey with literally just Tobias Harris base. Simple as that. The release 1 or anything like that doesn't matter. If you guys want to see my actual jump shot, I'll go ahead and just load up the jump shot creator as well. And then we'll go to the one that I title as Fast AF. So this is, once again, just 100% Saddiq Bey with Tobias Harris base. A+ speed, but again, it is through the roof, A++ speed. And then albeit obviously has an A- release height, which is still plenty good. It's not 100% like perfect or anything like that. And what I want to showcase real quickly is comparing it to other different bases. So you'll see the A+ speed plus the A- release height, and then a couple B's here and there. You're gonna be like, well, I see better letter grades out there. Like for instance, you have this one with the Melo and Oscar uppers at A+, A+, and A+ with a C-, and that looks perfect on paper. But with the LaMelo Ball base, it's slightly slower than the Tobias Harris base, not to mention it obviously with the Oscar Robertson uppers, yes, is pertaining to the height and defense immunity a little bit better, but it is significantly slower, even though it still shows as an A+, because the Oscar uppers are slower than Saddiq Bey, and then the LaMelo Ball base is a tad bit slower than the Tobias Harris base. Not to mention, in case you guys are new to the game, or maybe you don't know this type of information, I know this because, once again, I play with some really good point guards, and my boy AK has explained to me that upper releases impact the shot timing, aka the shot speed on your fades. So if you're someone who likes to do a lot of fadeaways and dribble pull-ups and stuff like that, the slower your upper releases are, the slower your pull-ups are. That's as simple as it goes. It has nothing to do with your base at all. So if you, for instance, maybe wanted to go with, let's say, LaMelo for the base just because you are more attracted to the LaMelo base than you are Tobias Harris, but wanted to go with Saddiq Bey uppers to also still speed up your fadeaways, that is another option as well that I have listed in today's video. So to keep it very simple, we're going to make this pretty quick on you guys. I have a lot of different examples in this video. It's technically more than 5, but I just wanted to just go ahead and make it that easier for the title. But nonetheless, I have some bases paired with some uppers. We're gonna keep this real simple. So this is Torian Prince base with the Sadiq Bey uppers, 100%. As you can see, it's an A+, A+. We will go into the details though in just a second and show you the real breakdowns, because as we just talked about, the A+ doesn't exactly mean everything, because some A+ are faster, some A+ are slower, not to mention some A+ release heights are a little bit shorter, some A+ release heights are a little bit higher. So I have multiple different ways of testing that, and we'll explain that a little bit into this video. But other than that, we have Eric Pascal. This one's release height is insane. As you can see, just visually, the jump is crazy. Like, you get super far up off the ground. Its speed is actually quite a bit slower than the Tobias Harris, which is maybe why you would see the comparisons between this. You'd be like, well, this one has A+ and A+ when it comes to height and speed, and you just said those are the most important ones, yet still has a B and B-. Yet the Tobias Harris one right here has the exact same thing on defense immunity, the exact same thing on timing impact, and quote-unquote the same exact thing on release speed, yet still has worse height. And you'd probably wonder, well, why isn't this one just better? But once again, it's because this one is significantly slower, even though it still shows an A+, versus this one being an extremely fast A+. But anyway, the reason the title of this video is one of these 5 jump shots will fix your shooting in 2K23 is because technically, by all measures, I really look at Eric Pascal, the Scottie Pippen, and the Joe Harris as kind of the same shot. So as you can see, as far as the height and speeds go, it's A+, and then it still shows about the same thing for all 3 of them. And also, all 3 of these are an 85 3-point requirement, not to mention the fact that they're extremely height-based. They are quite a bit slower than, let's say, even Torian Prince, or for instance, the Tobias Harris that I have right here, or the LaMelo Ball base. So all 3 of these jump shots right here are a bit slower, yet still shows the A+, but their release height is insane, and they still have decent defensive immunity and timing impact as well, all requiring only 85 3-pointer. But anyway, let's go ahead and skip to the part where I do this testing, essentially, where, as you can see, I run the Precious Achiuwa, I think is how you pronounce that. Nonetheless, though, obviously, the reason this is here is because the upper release is a little bit worse by all technicalities when it comes to the grades. So it makes it easier to test because I have these all tested on the minimum speed, so it's ticked all the way down to the bare minimum. Not to mention, we have 100% into this upper of the Precious Achiuwa right here. So, nonetheless, this is going to be the same upper for all 6 of these jump shot bases that I showcase here. So, first of all, we have the LaMelo Ball. Its height is extremely good and its speed is pretty decent. But as you can see, Tobias Harris makes that speed even higher, yet the timing impact is significantly better. Now, once again, I just want to reiterate that obviously we have that Sadiq Bey that I have already deemed as the best upper. I will also showcase using Sadiq Bey. I have all types of screenshots between all this stuff, so just know model 1 of this test that I'm going to show for the next 2 minutes is going to be with the Precious Achiuwa. I really hope this is how I pronounce this dude's name. I hope I don't botch this stuff consistently, but model number 1 for the next 2 minutes is going to be this right here, where I'm just showcasing the grades in a much more visual sense, where you can actually see, because if they're at A+ on everything, it's going to be hard to tell the difference. So I have to use a upper that maybe just showcases a worse rating. But anyway, this is the LaMelo Ball base. It's probably the second best base in the game, if you ask me, after Tobias Harris, where as you can see, even with the Precious as the upper, you still get B+ speed, B height, B- defense immunity, and A- timing impact. Now, like I said, when you up the speed on it and you give it a different upper and stuff, all those ratings will change. But nonetheless, you can see the timing difference is still at the bare minimum in these situations, a half a letter grade, where it's like from B to B+. Sometimes it's like B to A- or something like that. It just depends on the discrepancy. Think of it as pretty much a letter grade and a half difference of speed. And then between LaMelo and Tobias Harris, their defensive immunity is the same. However, Tobias has way more timing impact, yet loses a little bit of release height. So the trade-off for LaMelo is more release height versus Tobias, but it's a little bit slower, whereas Tobias gives you a little bit less release height for more speed and a much more significant timing impact as well. But I really do want to stress that it is really, really faster, if you ask me, Tobias versus LaMelo. But anyway, moving along, we have obviously these other like uppers that I showcased, and again, these were A+ technically when I showcase them to you guys, but as you can see, there can be such a discrepancy in these to the point where this still shows as a C+ when it's with Precious, yet compared to Tobias is a B+. So that's a full letter grade right there of the difference of the speed, yet when I showed them visually with the Sadiq Bey uppers and the 100% speed, it looked like the exact same thing with an A+. So that's why I do want to stress the point of, obviously, all A+ are not created equally. Nonetheless, though, Joe Harris, even with the Precious uppers, is an A release height and then a C+ speed. So this is where I wanted to showcase. You can see Eric Pascal is kind of the same thing. As you can see, this is literally just me scrolling back and forth between Harris and Pascal. So this is literally the exact same grades. They're nearly identical, 100%. So those two don't really have very much of a difference. You can see Scottie Pippen is a little bit more release height with almost the exact same grades as well as the two of them, if not actually the exact same thing. So I'm panning through all of them. We're on Pippen right now, then Pascal, then Joe Harris. They all have the exact same speed, the exact same timing impact, and the exact same defensive immunity. It's just Scottie Pippen has a little bit more release height. So if you happen to have a 3-point rating that can go a little bit higher, I would say Pippen is the better of the slow ones right here, where if you wanted one that's a little bit slow, yet has really good release height, this Pippen jump shot is an A+ even with Precious as the uppers. And mind you, comparing it to Tobias Harris was a B. So it is significantly more release height when it comes to the Scottie Pippen base versus, let's say, other ones as well. But these three right here are a little bit slower is the only issue. It's just that the release height is really good and their timing impact is really good. And then as a kind of meet in the middle, we're going from this Scottie Pippen base right here to what I actually like for lower 3-point rating builds with Taurean Prince. So I use Taurean Prince with really good uppers on, let's say, my 83 3-pointer build that I have with, it was a pure lock, 6'8" essentially. But on this new build, I have 85. That's why I want to run them with that Tobias Harris. But I am a huge fan of the Taurean Prince. Its release height is really good. Once again, this is with the Precious uppers and it's at minimum speed as well. So we once again, now that I'm going to segue into this part right here, are showing what they all look like with Saddiq Bey with minimum speed still as well. So mind you, the bar is all the way down in their speed, yet I still have A+ speed with the Mellow Ball base paired with Saddiq Bey uppers. That's how fast this thing is. Just keep that in mind. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and just keep it in the same order. We're going from the Mellow Ball to Tobias Harris. This is once again with the minimum speed on the bar, yet I still have 100% Saddiq Bey upper with Tobias Harris base. And as you can see, it still has an A+ speed where, once again, they both have an A+ speed, yet the release height is pretty much similar to LaMelo. It's only like about half a letter grade down. The defense immunity stays the same, and the timing impact is significantly better. Nearly a full letter grade between these two, being a C+ for LaMelo and then an A- for Tobias. So obviously, there is quite a bit of a significance when it comes to that. Yet at the same time, some people don't value timing impact at all when it comes to selecting their jump shots. So that's why I wanted to make this video showcasing multiple different options for you guys, whether that is the LaMelo Ball base. And I already told you too, Saddiq Bey upper is really, really good. I really do suggest this to you guys. Its release height is extremely good. Its speed is the fastest one in the game possible. As I already mentioned too, it speeds up your dribble pull-ups and fades, so just keep that in mind as well. And also, my boy Tonic is of the belief that it also pertains to that the exact same way when it comes to your post fades and post hops as well. So when it comes to the speed of your post fades, even with, yes, it's still the animation, he still believes that your uppers actually are impacted by that as well. So just keep that in mind. Uppers change a lot of things when it comes to shooting on the move, whereas base is really just for standing still and shooting the ball. So it's really important for catch and shooters, and it's really important for people that maybe do a lot of stop and go, quick stop stuff. But obviously when it comes to fading, you're going to want more speed and height, obviously, when it comes to that. And Saddiq Bey is your guy for that when it comes to the uppers. But anyway, to get back to the whole base conversation, we have the LaMelo versus the Tobias. We already talked about that, but as you can see, Tobias is looking real fine right there. I mean, that's with minimum speed even still, and it still has significantly crazy ratings. But moving along, you can see Joe Harris with the Saddiq Bey uppers looks absolutely insane too. As far as the release height paired with the speed, mind you, once again, this is all the way down to the minimum speed. I really want to stress that for every one of these. I know some of you guys are listening to the video like, yo, can you please just get on with it? I understand. But there's a lot of people out there that don't understand this. So just keep in mind, it's all the way down in the bar. But anyway, A- speed, A- timing impact with an A+ release height. Again, you're going to see a very similar thing when it comes to Pascal. Pascal, by all measures, is technically a little bit faster. On the other upper that we were showcasing with Precious, it showed the exact same thing. But this is why I'm saying too, not even all testing is created equally, because now you can see instead of them having the same speed, now it's about like a third of a letter grade difference now between Pascal and Joe Harris. So Pascal, while they both have an A+ release height, and again, it's hard to test because when you put the wrong uppers on and boom, now you're in the like super through the roof A+. For all I know, both these release heights could be nearly the same. That's why my point even stands still of the testing needs to be like really perfect. But anyway, whole point being, Pascal and Joe Harris are extremely close to each other. I think it's about as simple as Pascal is slightly faster and Joe Harris is probably just slightly higher on the release height. Simple as that. Other than that, though, we have the Scottie Pippen, which, as you can see, I don't even reach the rating requirement of. It's actually 86 for this situation right here, where we pair it with the Saddiq Bey, and that just shows you, I mean, its release height is insane. We already showcased that with the Precious one, where it was an A+ even with that on, and that's insane. And then it still has good timing impact, but as soon as you just put this speed all the way up, it might even just be fast enough for you. And this is why I'm saying this may be the jump shot for you if you do prefer maybe a more reasonable speed on your jumper. Yet at the same time, you could run Sadiq Bey uppers, and then that still speeds up your fades and the post hops, post fades, stuff like that as well. Yet you get the best of both worlds, because maybe the standstill shot is a little bit too fast for your liking if you run, let's say, Tobias Harris, for instance, or LaMelo Ball. Scottie Pippen is quite a bit slower, but if the minimum A+ is good enough for you, you may as well invest in things that pertain to release height or timing impact or defensive immunity. But anyway, moving along, Torian Prince, as you can see, with the minimum speed as well, has an A+ release height with a still A as far as the speed goes. So it's not too far behind the LaMelo Ball, or even still Tobias Harris a little bit. But I would say this is a pretty close comparison for LaMelo, to be honest with you guys. It probably just is a little bit more height with a little bit less speed compared to LaMelo. And this is going to be one that you could fit into if you have a little bit lower of a three-point rating, essentially, while still getting the best of both worlds. You're just losing a little bit of defensive immunity compared to LaMelo. And also, when I was running the testing, I ended up throwing Kuzma in last because it actually did have speed that's comparable to LaMelo and Tobias Harris as well. As you guys may remember, Tobias Harris was a B+ when it came to the Precious being on, and then obviously if you throw on the Sadiq Bey pure uppers, as I can showcase in this situation right here, it's still an A+. So just keep in mind, Kuzma is extremely fast. It's not very good for release height. I'll just leave it as that. And also still doesn't really contribute super crazy as far as anything else between defense immunity and timing impact. So I think I see Kuzma as a little bit more of a maybe low threshold three-point rating type thing if you wanted a fast jump shot but can't afford LaMelo or can't afford Tobias Harris, essentially. I don't know if this is reasonable to even showcase in the video, but I just wanted to show you guys what Tobias with the Sadiq Bey uppers looks like. It's so fast. I love it. It's honestly ridiculous. I've been grinding away with this in my career for like literally the whole day, and I'm really learning the jump shot and really loving it as well. It does look a little bit clunky and weird. I will give you that 100%, but honestly, I am a huge fan of it. Also, because I didn't showcase this, I really do want to. So now I want to talk about the two uppers that I really like when it comes to the wings, which is Sadiq Bey and Oscar Robertson. Now, here's the thing too. You guys may see this and now be like, oh, I can take LaMelo Ball speed all the way down with the Sadiq Bey upper, and then boom, it's still an A+. But what happens when I put Oscar Robertson on instead? Because as you're going to see, Oscar is better as far as the rating requirement goes, but when we put it fully into Oscar instead of 100% Sadiq Bey, the speed moves down from an A+ to an A-, and albeit this may be heavily invested even still into the A+. I mean, we could go literally to what, 70% Sadiq Bey, and it's already still an A+. Even just going down from 70% to 0% equals a 2-letter grade difference, and that's actually, like, you can even go down to what, 11%, so that's even going from 70 to 11. So off a 59% drop from Sadiq Bey to Oscar Robertson, that's about 2/3 of a letter grade from an A+ to an A-. So that is a significant difference when it comes to how fast your jump shot is, which is why I really do suggest the Sadiq Bey upper, albeit you are losing defensive immunity, but I'm not a big believer in it personally, to be completely honest with you guys. And by all technicality too, to be fair, Oscar Robertson is adding in quite a bit of release height to this as well. So as you can see, going all the way to about, let's say, yeah, 37% into Oscar. So about 1/3 put into Oscar, you're upping your release height to A+. For all I know, it goes even further than that, obviously, so it could be like an A++ or whatever you want to deem that for the release height. But again, you are losing a significant amount of speed in comparison between these two jump shots, obviously, albeit the defense immunity and release height, yes, I do understand that. Now, if you care about stuff like maybe timing impact more than either of those two, or whatever the case may be, we have another jump shot for you as well, because obviously then I still have this conversation. Because now, as you can see, running the Tobias Harris base with 100% Sadiq Bey, I still have a 3-point requirement of 84. That's actually even higher than the LaMelo Ball one, and then also, that's even with still Oscar Robertson being put into that as well. So let's say we went pure Oscar on this Tobias Harris one. As you can see, it actually never even leaves the A+ speed. And comparing to the LaMelo Ball one, we all saw the LaMelo Ball one went down 2/3 of a letter grade. It went down from an A+ to an A-, and that's actually, like we said, also within like 60%. So this right here, you could have a Tobias Harris base with 100% Oscar Robertson, and you still have an A+ speed. So I am really of the belief that this Tobias Harris base is by far the fastest thing in the game, and when you pair that with the fastest upper in the game too, you have the fastest jump shot in the game, period. Simple as that. And it still has a very respectable release height of an A-. To get the speed like this on a jump shot would really typically require you to probably have like a B release height or even a B- or something like that. And to be fair, I can't even say that because you can't even get as fast as this jump shot right here. It's literally the fastest one in the game for wings, and for that matter, it might actually be the fastest one in the game, period. I don't know if Kevin Porter Jr. even like equates to this, to be completely honest with you guys. Even when you throw on KPJ as a guard with minimum speed, it still shows at an A instead of an A+. That is crazy when in comparison to this, because obviously when running the Tobias Harris with the Saddiq Bey uppers, we already have an A+ even still with the minimum speed, and that's even still even more. Like, we could put more Oscar into this and still have an A+. And again, Oscar does lower your speed by quite a bit. So anyway, my whole point here is that this is the jump shot I am running, and I hope if you guys follow in my footstep with this, that it actually works for you as well. Like I said, it's a little bit clunky, a little bit hard to get the release cue on, but if you get the timing of this, I'm really learning it quite a bit myself. I played quite a bit of that Beats event. I've played a lot of my career today. Like, I'm talking probably 600 jump shots or 500 jump shots today in my career. And I've been grinding the badges like crazy. And then I also plan to play quite a bit of the Puma for like the ×3 ×4 XP in the park as well. So I will be 100% testing this jump shot as well. But anyway, if you guys want to follow me with using this jump shot, feel free to. If you want to use any of these other ones that I showcased right here between Taurean Prince, Eric Pascal, Pippen, Joe Harris, LaMelo base, whether it's with Oscar or Saddiq Bey uppers, whatever the case may be, or if you even want to use a Tobias Harris base with the Oscar uppers. If you happen to have a 3-point rating of like 92 because you're maybe someone who has a low wingspan, 6'9" or something like that, and you get like 92 3-pointer, go all in for this if you really do want a slower jump shot, yet amazing grades, because this could be really fire, man. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like, this Oscar right here paired with Tobias, if you really don't want like a super fast, could be perfect for you. But anyway, that's all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, for drop a like, sub, and new tell them noties, all good stuff. And like always, try to one to 2,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, you appreciate any of the tips, or you just want to showcase your support that you made all the way through, put shoot or put green in the comments. Show support you made all the way through. I don't know if YouTube's gonna like the whole shoot one. We'll maybe just switch that to green for the sake of the comments. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed. And again, let's try this one to 2,000 likes. If you guys want to see any more like videos like this, I would love to, because honestly, if there's one thing I love doing in this game, and I love that 2K implemented this. I don't really show a lot of love to 2K and like typical things that I like will talk about on the channel, because I like to be pretty impartial. I don't want to be a homer to the game that I play and make content on too much. But the fact they show grades finally after all these years is so cool. I really do like the fact that we can really showcase what the speed and the release height of these jump shots is in the first place. Back in the day, we just would rely on 2K labs to test this stuff, and all we even knew for that matter was maybe just the rate of going in. I guess we did know the speed too, technically, because they do the milliseconds on the speed testing as well. But I just obviously am talking about things like release height, defense immunity, timing impact, being able to just edit all that stuff and just go on a fly and just boom, be able to change it with however you would like to and really get your hands on it and just test things. So anyway, that is all for the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you do, for drop a like, sub, new, we know all that good stuff. I already talked about it. But anyway, that's all. And other than that, take these, man. Peace.